All right, today I would love to tell you about the secret that your ex doesn't want you to know. Now, the truth is, breakups are very complicated. You probably have secrets, your ex probably has secrets, but I am not talking about like big earth-shattering secrets that your ex has been keeping from you, like they cheated on you or something like that. I'm talking about very specifically how they're feeling in the moment, and something that your ex is experiencing, and we know they're experiencing, but they're not going to tell you. So we're gonna kind of help you decode what's going on from your ex's perspective during the breakup. All right, so what is this big secret that your ex doesn't want you to know? Quite simply, your ex misses you too at times. Now, the important part there is at times. A lot of times people kind of feel shortchanged when they hear like, that's the secret. And that's kind of often the natural reaction people have. That's why I put that at times in there, because that's an accurate assessment of what's going on. There will be moments throughout your ex's experience of this breakup where they will miss you, whether it's the small routines the two of you got used to or some of the big moments that they kind of miss experiencing with you. And I say at times because it's not always a fluid experience for them. Sometimes they'll miss you insanely. This is why you get kind of these hot and cold spikes. A lot of times people will go to Ex-Boyfriend Recovery, our website, and search on the search bar there and say hot and cold behaviors. Why is my ex acting hot this moment and then cold the next moment? Well, that's because they miss you sometimes, and then they kind of wake up the next day feeling like, I don't really miss them anymore. This is the big secret they don't want you to know, and they don't want you to know this secret for really two reasons. Now, the first reason is pretty obvious. Pride. Your ex probably broke up with you, so for them to sit there and admit that they miss you feels like a step back to their ego. Very common behavior from whoever ends up being the initiator of the breakup. Now, the second reason is a little less obvious. Real quick, I want to say that if you're new to this YouTube channel or you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to get your ex back and you're trying to learn if you even have a chance in your specific circumstance, probably the smartest thing for you to do is actually stop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, or take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz that can be found at exboyfriendrecovery.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, taking that free quiz is super easy to do. All you have to simply do is look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can fill it out and get an easy answer on what you should be doing going forward and overall what your chances look like in your specific situation. All right, so let's get you back to the video. And that second reason is that they haven't felt it yet. Now, what am I referring to here? Well, quite simply, your ex hasn't experienced enough time away from you to have missed you. We know a couple of interesting things about how exes operate after breakups. The first thing I always talk about to my clients is a concept called the peak end rule. So a lot of times when we remember experiences, we don't remember them based in a time-by-time stamp manner. We remember them based on huge experiences, either negative or positive, and the very end of the experience. A lot of times after a breakup is over, your ex is only thinking about that portion of your relationship towards the end and how bad it made them feel. But after some time goes by, those peak experiences, those really strong moments you had together, they're kind of like, I took that for granted. I kind of missed that. The other thing is sometimes your ex has to feel that they have no chance of getting you back or no chance of a reconciliation for them to feel comfortable to miss you. This is kind of a mind meld issue here for a lot of our clients, but really it is very common avoidant behavior. They value their independence a lot, and if they feel that that independence is being kind of trudged upon, guess what? They're not going to miss you. It's only after you've kind of like stopped focusing on them and started focusing on other people that they start to miss you. And I think one thing that can be extremely helpful for anyone who wants to understand the simple concept of why them missing you at times isn't going to get them to come back on their hands and knees and beg for you back is they need to understand how human beings often commit to each other. This is actually a concept that I struggled a lot with to find psychology on because not a lot of people really write about it. More people have been writing about it recently, which is great. There's more stuff for us to research and kind of test out in the field. But ultimately, when you're understanding how human beings commit to each other long term, it's hard to kind of break it down. The best concept I've ever found on it is helping you understand the interdependence theory, which basically posits that human beings commit to each other based on a cost and benefit scenario. So they're always doing this internal tally in their head of, is this the best person for me? Is this the best person for me? Is this the best person for me? And they're usually grading you on 3 types of criteria: satisfaction, alternatives, and investment. So these are exactly how they sound. Satisfaction is simply how satisfied your ex is in the current relationship with you. Alternatives: is there someone out there that can meet my needs better than the person that I'm with? And then investment: how much have I invested into this relationship emotionally, financially, all of that stuff, time, you know. But not all 3 concepts are created equally. And I think this is kind of the important pinpoint that people miss. They've done studies to see which of these factors is kind of like the most important one. And what they found is even if a person felt that they had better alternatives, even if they were unsatisfied in a relationship, if they had invested a lot into that relationship, they're not leaving that relationship. Which pretty much tells you that investment, how much they've invested into a relationship, is really, really important for their commitment decisions. But what does this have to do with them kind of keeping this secret from you? Well, I don't want you to come into this video thinking, or coming out of this video thinking that, wow, my ex misses me, they want me back. No. You have to score highly in all of those 3 categories, and sometimes, contrary to popular belief, them moving on to someone else can help you, because then they start kind of comparing that new person to you and they realize, you know what, I don't feel the same with that person as I did with them. This is also why I think a lot of the people who are coming through our program and having success are having such a high success rate, because it's easier to fall back into old familiar habits, because guess what? They invested a lot of time into those relationships. So let's recap. Your ex misses you at times. How can you find out when they're having one of these moments when they're missing you? Well, like I said, you will usually experience these hot and cold moments with them. Oftentimes you'll hear me call this the pendulum swing, where they kind of swing from one pendulum to the other side of the pendulum. They're hot one moment, cold the next, back to hot again, back to cold again, and it feels like, what is going on? Why can't you just choose how you feel? Well, it's because they're going through this sort of ping pong match in their head. On one time, they're not able to overcome some of the headwind that they've created in their head about why they broke up with you. And on the other side, being with you feels great. So they're often going back and forth. So here's my tip to you. If you want to help make your ex commit to you, try to hit highly on those 3 criteria. Make sure that they're extremely satisfied in interactions with you. Make sure that you're the best alternative out there. But most importantly, make sure you're monopolizing their time and they're enjoying it. So they keep coming back for more and more and more. All right, so after you've watched this video, you're probably sitting there and thinking, you know what? I wonder about my ex and if I should even try to get them back. Well, if that's you, I've got good news. I've actually put together a special quiz on my website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, that I've basically designed to help you understand what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back. Now, this isn't the be-all, end-all quiz, so I don't want you to think that, but it will help you understand your next steps going forward. And all you have to do if you want to take this free quiz is simply look in the description link below this YouTube video and click it. That's it. It'll take you right to the quiz. You can fill it out and kind of get started on what your next steps should be.